Hello everyone, and welcome back to Carpo's channel. The greatest YouTube channel for 87 years running. I know every time that seems to increase, but time flies. You never know. Today I'd like to talk about a few things. First off, I can't say Happy Memorial Day. I started this video in front of my giant flag in my backyard. However, with the sirens, the dogs barking, the lawnmower that started up, I figured I'd come in here to my office, make it a little quieter. But I hung up my flag, the flag that was given to me when my father died at his funeral by the military. It's their parting gift for people who gave their lives. He didn't die at war. He died as a byproduct of going to Vietnam and fighting for a pointless battle, and came back with not just a wounded soul and heart, but most likely damage from Agent Orange, which caused his carcinoma and killed him at 42 when I was 15 years old. So my life was consistently affected by losing my father at a young age, and thinking about that every Memorial Day, hanging his flag. It reminds me right after he died, we had a house fire where we actually lost everything. It was kind of a double whammy. I lived out in the garage. I had my garage separated into two places, two components, and half of it was our storage from the stuff my dad had left behind. The other half was my bedroom, and it all burned down. We lost basically everything at that time. And, you just kind of fight through it, I guess, and you do what you have to do. And this isn't really related to the video here, but I figure since it's Memorial Day weekend, I'd talk about this, that you don't say Happy Memorial Day. There's nothing happy about it. You're remembering fallen soldiers and lost loved ones. So with that, my heart goes out to all the people out there who have lost others, lost loved ones, and their own personal stories and situations. And it does relate to what I'm talking about. As far as going to fight a pointless war, nobody wants to admit that putting time and effort into a system when something has failed, it's very difficult for us to step away. For example, there is terminology for it. I believe it's I remembered, the sunk cost fallacy. This could be something as simple as, you've already invested this much in this company, no point in backing out now when the stocks are low. You've already put so much time into a business that you don't want to quit even when it's failing. And more metaphorically, when you've invested so much time in an idea that you don't want to let go of that because you built a community and ideals around that. That can be political, religious, otherwise. It can be a hobby you're not interested in or a career that you don't like. But we do build these ideas around systems because we want stability in our lives. And we trust the system too much. And this is changing. And I believe we're going through some serious growth pangs right now. They say that history is written by the victors. And that's an old term, old saying that goes back to the idea that when a culture dominates another culture, they can decide how to write the books. They can decide which books to burn. And this was quite literal in the past. Today it might not be quite as well understood, but in the past, if you invaded somebody else's culture, you could burn every scroll they had and rewrite the history for their people. By the next generation, the people don't know any better. And they become slaves, or they become, passive because they believe that you're a hero rather than an invader, which is what's happened with our own governments around the world, which have basically invaded the countries that they are supposed to represent. If America was a free country, the people would truly have a say as a whole. But I'll get to that. Not only is history written by the victors, but I had another metaphor or idea when I asked earlier, are people waking up to this reality of what's going on? That the media is not on their side, that the military as it stands is a complex for profit, not for defense. And it's kind of like, I feel like people are waking up too late, then they go back to bed. But I wanted to give some hope. I found this article earlier that I'd like to share. This is just a clip from this article I was reading, and because I heard a claim this morning on The Hill that The Hill is a show where they talk about politics, but they do it in a way that's very balanced. They don't, bias themselves to one side. They see through the bullshit. And it's one of the few, broadcasts that I'll even watch some of. But it's like every other media. They have to attract attention and donors and sensationalize things. That's just the world of media these days. Whoops, alarm. So I'm going to read this, because what I heard was that CNN had less than 1 million viewers on any of their shows the other day. Haven't confirmed this or not. That seems very low, but I snickered at the idea that maybe people are leaving cable news, network news, and these people don't know what to do. And I'm glad. They've all dug their graves. Viewership has gone down after the last political election because things are boring. People were only interested because they wanted to hear the latest banter. It's really ridiculous. It's basically a combination of rubbernecking and our desire to point the finger at the other side. But I'm going to read you this little thing. Okay. During the primetime hours of 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., CNN has lost around 65% of its total viewers since January. I mean, this is in 4 months. That's 2/3 of their viewership. In the critical 25 to 54 demographic, the network lost 71% of its viewers for both day and prime time. CNN's drop in viewers is larger than its competitors, but all major cable shows have experienced a drop. MSNBC had the second largest drop in viewership since January, losing 49% of its total viewership between January and May. In the 25 to 54 age demographic. That means that's half of their viewership in that time, and I find that great, wonderful, because it's garbage. The network lost, during prime time, the network lost 63% total, so that's also 2/3. MSNBC lost 42% during prime time and 58% of viewers between 25 and 54. Then it says Fox News had the least substantial drop out of all networks, losing 12% of its total viewers and 15% of viewers between 25 to 54. So that actually makes complete sense to me because, people who stand behind believing network news, they tend to stick to what they believe and stick to the media that tells them what they want to hear. I think the thing is, a lot of the CNN and MSNBC viewership was basically people who weren't supporting the left, that didn't care and didn't support the way these people reported, just kind of rolled their eyes, but they were trying to get the basic knowledge so they could go research it elsewhere, because that's what we do now. We don't listen to the mainstream news for information. We go to AP to get a headline, then we research it ourselves. If you don't, then you're just believing what you're told. And every media is biased. As for coming to terms and with our own history and realizing how much I don't know. As I said, history is written by the victors. A lot of the things I've been taught are bullshit. I watched an article this morning about the 1619 project. Actually, it was an old video from about a year ago. And the 1619 project was done by the New York Times, and it was supposed to address the history of racism, institutional racism. And it was a critique of that, but not by right-wing people or racists. This was a critique was brought out, and because I guess somebody won a Pulitzer for writing something for that project, and people complained, but it was Democrats and progressives that complained. They said, this is ridiculous. This doesn't show that it's not about the history. The point was, people have done horrible things in history, but you've got to lay it out factually and realize how much farther back it goes. And there's a lot to be learned here about, ourselves, but also that they didn't address at all the current systems and the people who are in power. For example, the Democratic cities that for decades still haven't taken care of problems, still blaming the 50s or, Jim Crow laws, hanging on to the past when in fact there are things we can do right now. But our elected officials are cowards. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, brown, green, orange. It doesn't matter what color they are. Our elected officials always screw us over. They don't care. They really don't care. And when people start realizing that not only is the media dying and trust in the media, but trust in the government. This is a process, and it's not a bad thing. It is a process of waking up. It's a process of a society coming to terms with governing itself. And there are people who do not want that. There is a lot of money to be made. Billionaires get richer not just because of the products that they provide. Jeff Bezos isn't rich just because he provides some amazing product. He allows third-party sellers on Amazon to sell complete junk shit products, ships them in oversized boxes, doesn't give a damn about the environment or anything else. He's out to make money. Doesn't care about his workers, doesn't care about them wanting to unionize. The whole system is set up to benefit guys like him who last year didn't pay any taxes. Amazon did not pay any federal taxes from what I read. Now, a person could argue, well, they pay through other means. The thing is, when a man becomes the richest and most powerful in the world in a year, you have to start questioning whether, well, maybe we didn't tax them enough. Who's worth that much money? I think Jeff Bezos is a piece of garbage, in my opinion. Not just because he's rich, because he doesn't utilize his success for anything truly beneficial for society. And that's what we call the stagnation of flow. When you dam a river, you know what happens. It overflows. They call it cash flow for a reason. The other term for it is currency, meaning current, to flow. All of this goes back to the knowledge that money has to flow. He just bought MGM for, I think, $8.3 billion. We're talking almost $10 billion. That could solve 1/3 of the world's hunger crisis for a year. But no, he has to buy the media and Hollywood and everything else. It's creepy that we live in this age, but people are aware of it too. But that's what brings me to the point that we all share in the blame because we shop. I don't use Amazon anymore, and I'm trying to really avoid using it. But once in a while, I can't resist ordering something that I can't find elsewhere. I see the benefit, but we need to do better, not break down all the local communities and local businesses. It's cheapened product. It's basically globalism in a bottle. That's what Amazon is. And the consumers have fewer options. The stores that used to carry certain things that I used to go to don't anymore because, and a lot of them have closed down because they're run out of business by these people. We don't see it until it's too late. So another saying from 1984 is, he who controls the past controls the future, and who controls the present controls the past. And the gatekeepers of knowledge, not to sound conspiratorial, this is nothing new to me. I've been aware of this for a long time. I've been also resistant to people who want to take it to the extreme and believe that everybody's out to get them and the whole thing is a grand conspiracy by these people in dark hoods. No, it's a bunch of different billionaires behind closed doors, making themselves richer at the cost of people. There are folks out there who don't care about you, that don't care about anything, of whether you live, whether you die. The old term useless eaters, if you will. Look into it. There are people out there who think that you are garbage. It doesn't matter if you're middle class, lower class. People seem to think that they have, well, I'm doing all right. I've got a decent house, a nice car. The people who have the most don't care about anybody except themselves and their own. Not even their own people half the time. And look at the way a lot of these people treat their own family. It's, so I'm hoping for a better future, and my point to take away from this is this. I think that we're moving into a better future. I think that eventually these hiccups and these moments will pass, and I think that the meek will inherit the earth. It'll just take some time. So Let me know what you think. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later.